All right, so this is going to be the instructional video on how to use the Neuromyst transcranial direct current and transcranial alternating current stimulation. So just a brief overview of how to use the device. So the power button is going to be the red button right there. You'll press that to turn the device on. Now at the bottom, you're going to see the two options for using both transcranial direct current or transcranial alternating current stimulation. I'm predominantly going to be talking about transcranial direct current or TDCS in this video. Safe to say transcranial alternating current, we will give you specific instructions with this device if you need to use that based off of your EEG or brain map that we give you in the office. But specifically for transcranial direct current stimulation, in a nutshell, what this is going to do is to activate one part of the brain and then inhibit another part of the brain. How that works and how this is done is two leads with these sponges will connect into the top part of the device up here. So you'll plug this in and you will have a red and a black, or an anode and a cathode, positive, negative. The positive side is always going to go on the side of activation, and the black is going to go on the side of inhibition. So as an example, if we are working on activating more of the, let's say, right frontal lobe and decreasing the left frontal lobe, you will put the anode on the right side and the cathode on the left side like that. Now, one important thing to note is that these sponges that come with it need to be wet. Easiest way to do that, we use a contact solution to get the sponges wet. You want them wet, but you don't want them like sopping where they're dripping down the face, but wet enough because they need to make good contact and having to create an electrical circuit. So you'll wet the sponges and you'll put them on the areas that we recommend for treatment. The device also comes with a headband, so for some of our older patients or those that can tolerate it, you can put the headband on to secure these in place so you can be hands-free. If your kiddo is younger, you'll have to hold them on there, or for yourself have to hold them on certain spots. Now, in order to use the device, once we know where we're going to be treating, you'll click the TDCS button, which will take you to the menu here. It's going to say intensity and time. Predominantly, the treatments are going to be 20 minutes if we're treating on one particular spot, so you'll leave the time the same because it's going to be standard at 20 minutes. The intensity, we always like to start at a bit lower, especially on the first initial treatments, down to a 0.5. This goes all the way down to a 0.1, but usually 0.5 is going to be safe enough to use at a low enough power level where it's not going to be uncomfortable. Now, as you get to higher energy levels, it will feel a bit stingy, which is why we always want to start lower and then work our way up from there. But after several sessions, you may notice we can start at a 0.1, and we ultimately want to work up to a 1.5 energy level. That's the highest that we'll go. Again, it'll feel a bit stingy, but we'll work our way up to that. So let's say we're going to do that at a 1.5. You'll click go. Anytime it starts, it's always going to have a ramp up period. This is a safety feature to allow for that electrical current to build so it doesn't immediately start at that highest energy level. It's one of the reasons why we love this device, because it's very safe. Now you'll also see once that ramp up period starts, it'll get to its highest energy level, and then it will get to start treating it at 20 minutes. You'll also see in the top left corner this little white box. That is our impedance box. So that's how you know when you have a good electrical circuit. So when it's white, that means there is no circuit formed, which means you need to either wet the sponges a little bit more or press them a little more onto the contact surface. It'll turn yellow when the impedance is okay and green when the impedance is good. You always want to shoot for green to get your impedance. Okay? So you'll have that on the particular spots. Anytime you need to pause treatment, you can press that pause button right there. Resume, and it's always going to restart that ramp up period again. It's always going to have that safety feature. Once it gets going and gets treating, you'll have the ability to turn up or down the intensity levels here. So you can always turn the power down if you or your kiddo is feeling like it's a little too stingy or too uncomfortable. You can turn that down to where it's more of a comfort level. Again, we want it to have a little bit of sensation, but it should not be uncomfortable. And if you ever need to stop, you just simply press that stop button. It will cancel the program and then take you back to the regular menu. Battery is always indicated up at the top, so you can charge it in the charging port there with a USB 3.0 cable, and it automatically turns off after a certain amount of time. Again, if you have further questions beyond this, please reach out to our office.